Welcome to ICAS Cloud. In this webinar, I'll be explaining about what is automation and why automation tools, and then what is Ansible. Also, I'll be giving a brief demo on that. What is Ansible? Also, I'll be giving a brief demo on that. First of all, we'll see about automation. Normally, in every IT enterprise, IT administrators like network administrators, system administrators, or cloud administrators, to do their task in a repeated way, mostly they will be writing programs, right? Programs. Sometimes administrators will not always have full knowledge on the program what they are using or writing. So most of the companies move towards automation tools because there are some few disadvantages. Doesn't mean program is not needed. Still, program is very important. But still, to do automation, companies started using some automation tools. The disadvantages of a program is sometimes a developer can write a program, but the administrators without proper programming skill cannot able to immediately understand it. So to solve these problems, there is lots of automation tools evolved in recent days. Some of the automation tools are Ceph, Puppet, SaltStack, and even more. In this webinar, like I said, we'll be seeing about Ansible. So now you might have understood what is Ansible. Right. So Ansible is a IT automation tool. Okay, it is a open source automation software developed by a community called Ansible. Later, it was bought by Red Hat. Comparing other automation tools like Ceph, Puppet, SaltStack, Ansible is very simple. A developer can use it, or IT administrators can also use it, because for doing automation with Ansible, normally we'll be using YAML, which is a human readable language. Anybody can easily use it. So that's what I said, Ansible is simple. Anybody can immediately get started with Ansible. And it's equally powerful. With Ansible, you can do simple automations, or even you can do complicated automations, complex automations. Again, comparing some other automation tools. Okay, this Ansible is agentless. So imagine you have lots of computers or servers. Okay, if you want to do some automation on all these machines, normally for some automation tools, you have to install some agent software on the machines which you want to do automation. So you have to install some automation agent software in the machines which you want to do automation. But for Ansible, you don't want to install anything on the machines which you are managing. So imagine you have lots of computers. these computers doesn't need any plugin software or agent software to start automating. And Ansible is cross-platform. So assume this is Ansible. From Ansible, the machines which you are going to automate is not only a Linux computer, it can be a Unix, or even it can be a Windows, right? Or even it can be a network appliances like switches, routers, okay, or even a cloud provider. So with Ansible you can even manage cloud. Okay, now I'll be explaining some uses of Ansible. So if you have servers in your enterprise, so above your server hardware you will be installing operating system. The process we'll be calling it as installation. But the advancement of technology, so nowadays there is hypervisor. It is possible to create multiple virtual computers inside one single hardware, right? So the process of creating a virtual machine is normally called provisioning. Okay, so with Ansible it is possible to provision virtual machines. Okay, automatic provision of virtual machines. Instead of creating manually a virtual computer, it is possible to create virtual machines or provision virtual machines with Ansible. And as a IT administrator, normally you'll be doing configurations, right? With Ansible you can able to do configuration changes across your Linux servers or your Windows servers. And imagine you have lots of computers. So imagine you have around hundreds or thousands of computers, and for example if you want to install a security patch on all hundreds of computers or any other software on all 100 computers, so instead of going individually to all machines, via the automation tool Ansible, so you can able to do deployment, application deployment can be done. And finally with Ansible you can also able to orchestrate. So in a large enterprise, if there is lots of users, so there should be a accountability who is doing which task. This can be done with the orchestration tool called Ansible Tower, which can be integrated with Ansible and can be managed. Or even you can able to schedule the automations which you want to do in the later time. Okay. To get started with Ansible, now you want to know 6 terminologies. So in my upcoming slide, okay, so I'll be explaining about the 6 terminologies. So like we have discussed earlier, so I said it's very simple. So it's very simple for a beginner to get started with Ansible just by knowing the 6 terminologies. The first term is control node. Control node is a device where Ansible is installed. So like I said earlier, Ansible is a automation software. So you can able to install this automation software in a machine, and we'll be calling that machine as a control node. It can be a laptop or it can be a server. And managed node. From this control node, the device where you have Ansible is installed. If you are managing the devices which is running Unix servers, Linux servers or Windows servers, the device which we are going to manage is actually called managed node. Just for this presentation, I have added a server image, server icon, but it can be a network appliance like routers, firewalls. It can be even a cloud account. Okay, the two terms which I have explained is control node. Control node is a device where Ansible automation software is installed. Manage node is a device or devices to be managed by Ansible. Now if you want to automate from this control node should have information about the managed nodes like IP addresses or the host names. You have to add it in this Ansible control node. The IP addresses or the host names which are added to the control node, that file or that location we'll be calling it as inventory. Inventory is a file or a folder with multiple files where we'll be adding the entries about managed nodes, which is the IP addresses of the managed node or the host names of the managed node if it is properly resolvable. So the third term which I have told you is inventory. Inventory is a file or a folder with multiple configuration files where you will have information about the managed node. The fourth term is modules. Just after installation of Ansible automation tool, in this control node there will be lots of Python program which will get installed with the Ansible tool. They are called modules. So modules are programs written in Python, or it can be PowerShell, or it can be any other language, which are used for doing later automation with Ansible. So with Ansible, we'll be doing some automation to the target nodes, which we'll be calling it as managed node, with the help of the modules which are there while installing Ansible. It is also possible to create custom modules with Python, PowerShell or any other language. Okay. The fifth term is play. After having Ansible installed, you will also have modules. We have to manually create, or maybe it can also be dynamic, create entries about the managed node. After having entries about managed node, from the control node, which is the machine which is installed with Ansible, if we are doing a single automation to the managed nodes, that we'll be calling it as a play. So play is an action or a task which we are doing from the control node to the managed node. So it is not only to these two devices. Maybe if your infrastructure is with hundreds of computers, a play is a small action. We can able to do it to hundreds of computers or even thousands of computers. So the fifth term which I explained is play. The play is the one which will be executing the modules in the target missions. And the last term is playbook, which is very important term, or which is the core of Ansible, which is called playbook. If you have a requirement to implement a bigger application, or if you have a complex requirement to do lots of tasks in your managed node, so instead of using a play, you have to go for playbook. So playbook is a YAML file. So it's a YAML file. Like I said earlier, it's a human readable file where we can add lots of tasks in a sequential order. So with the help of this YAML, if we run this YAML playbook file, multiple tasks will be implemented, or multiple tasks will be executed in the managed nodes. So playbook is a file which contains, YAML file contains one or multiple play with multiple tasks. So we can name the playbook with any name, but it has to finish with .yaml or .yml. So that's the 6 terminologies you want to know to get started with Ansible. So the 6 terminologies are control node, the device where Ansible is installed; managed node, the device or devices which are going to be automated from the control node are called managed node; inventory, this control node should know which machines are going to get automated. So the machine's IP addresses or host names which has to be added to the inventory, that we'll be calling it as inventory. And just after installation of Ansible, there will be lots of modules also get integrated with this Ansible control node, so which we are not going to write. If we know programs, we can also write modules, but without the programming knowledge, if we want to do automation to the managed node, we can use the modules and we can do front-end actions like play, which will be doing a single task to the managed node, or we can write a playbook with multiple tasks, which will be again using the Python program in the backend, and it will be doing lots of actions to the managed node. Now I'll be showing you how to install Ansible in a machine. So before this session gets started, so I have actually created 3 virtual machines in AWS Cloud. Okay, and I have also used the public IP addresses of these 3 machines. Okay, now I'm going to logging into this machine, and I'm going to install Ansible on it. So the requirement to install Ansible is, it should be a Unix or a Linux based operating system. As of now, Ansible can be installed on a Unix or Linux based operating system, and Python package should be there. So the machines which I have created is all the 3 are Linux in this webinar. So now I'll be logging into this control node, and now I'll tell you how to do the installation of Ansible. Because it's just a software, but with few commands it will be installed. I have logged into this server, and now we are going to make this server act as a control node, which means the machine which is going to get installed with Ansible. So to install Ansible, you have to connect your Linux machine to a repository where you have Ansible. Since I am using a Red Hat Enterprise Linux server, so I have to connect to a repository called Extra Package for Enterprise Linux to install Ansible. So I'll use this link to connect to the repository. Okay, now this Linux machine got connected to EPL repository. I'll install Ansible. So you can use this command. You can use dnf install Ansible, or you can use yum install Ansible. Yum is an older command. So now Ansible is installed. You can verify the version of Ansible by using a command called ansible --version. So as of now, the latest version is 2.9.13. So this software Ansible got installed, which means control node is ready. Like I said earlier, so there will be lots of modules getting installed with Ansible. Will also be there. Now to do automation, we have to create inventory. Inventory is a file where you will be having information about the managed node. So now I'm going to add the IP addresses of these two machines to the inventory. Again, just after installation of Ansible, a configuration file will get created, which is the default configuration file of Ansible, which is /etc/ansible/ansible.cfg. Okay. That's the default configuration file. So this configuration file will have a configuration pointing to a inventory file called /etc/ansible/hosts. Right. It's not recommended to add directly about the managed node in this file, but still in this webinar I'll be adding it because we have only two managed nodes. So this file has lots of configurations, which is hashed commended. I'll just go to the last of the line and I'll be adding about the managed nodes which we have. right? So now we have Ansible control node, we have two manage nodes, modules will be there, and I have created inventory. So which means now we can do automation to the manage nodes. In order to do automation to the manage nodes, the tasks whatever we are going to do to the manage nodes will be executed with the power of the users available in the manage node. Since I am using AWS Cloud, these machines will be with a user account called EC2-user. And I have to do some basic configuration to get started to do automation. I have to inform this control node with whose power the task should execute, right? So in this main configuration file, there will be a line called remote user, which is by default commented, hashed. Now I'll uncomment and I'll make it to the user which I want to do automation, with the power of the user which I want to do automation. Also, Ansible uses SSH protocol in the backend to manage the Linux machines, or if it is Windows, it is WinRM. Since my managed nodes are Linux, so Ansible is going to try doing automation to the managed node with SSH. So now Ansible machine, Ansible control node should be able to connect to the managed node with SSH. I have copied the private key of these two machines to this control node before the session, which is in home directory with the name rel.pem. This is a file. Normally we'll be using it to connect to the remote machine. Right, so I'll show that. Right, so with this private key, normally to log into the remote Linux machine, we'll be using private key to connect to it. So that private key is in the current user's home directory. Now I have to inform the Ansible control node about this private key. Only then Ansible can able to connect to these two managed nodes. So there will be a file line called private underscore key underscore file, and that's by default commented. I'll point to the key which I have in my current directory. So the two configurations which I have added to this file is, one is with whose privilege the task should execute. I added that as EC2-user, and to do automation from this control node, some protocol has to be used in the backend. So I said SSH by default for Linux machine. So in order to do SSH, normally we need private keys. So the private key which I used is rel.pem, which is in the current login user's home directory. That information I have added to the main configuration file. Now Ansible control node knows with whose power the session should establish and with which key it has to establish the session. But maybe if you have used SSH for the first time when you are establishing session, okay, it will be asking, are you sure you want to continue connecting? That is host key checking. That will happen. So in order to disable that, there is another configuration called host key checking. That is also by default commanded. I'll uncommand it. I'll say host key checking is false. That's it. The three configurations which I have added is with whose power the automation should happen. I have added as EC2 user. Then with which key it has to establish the session, which is rel.pem, which is in my current home directory. And while establishing session, it should not prompt for are you sure you want to continue connecting. That's what I disable the host key checking. After doing these three configuration, now it's possible to do plays and playbooks with this control node. So now it's possible to do automation to this manage nodes. The play which I have told you already has another name called ad hoc. Ad hoc means normally whenever necessary. So it is a single task which executes a module in the manage node. So in my example, I have only 2 devices. Maybe if you have hundreds of computers, from Ansible control node, if you want to verify whether all 100 computers are up and running, okay, so from this Ansible control node, you can use one command to verify that. Or maybe if you want to verify the RAM memory of all 100 computers, again from the control node, you can use one ad hoc command to verify that. So ad hoc is a single task which executes a module in the manage node. So now I'll be using one ad hoc command. So normally the syntax of ad hoc command is Ansible and to which target which I want to do, then -m and the module name. So I am using Ansible all to all the targets, and I'm using -m to use the module, and like I said, there is lots of module got integrated with Ansible. So I'm using a basic module called ping. So ping is a Python module in the backend, so I'm using it. So with this ad hoc command, now this Ansible control node will try connecting to all the machines available in your organization. So in my demo, so I have 2 devices and I have did some perfect configuration, I guess. So now from here, if I did do this, right, so I got Pong as the response. Right, normally if you have hundreds of devices, all hundreds of devices going to give this response. If you can able to ping, it is also possible to use lots of other modules and do some advanced automation. So now if you want to verify the RAM memory available in all 100 machines, or maybe, so in my case it's 2 machines, right? So if you want, you'll be normally executing free command in a Linux machine to verify the RAM memory. Free -m is a command to verify the RAM memory. Now I'll use sudo ansible all -m, and there is a module called command, and I can use the command which I want to execute in all 100 machines. So I'll use free -m. So you can see the used memory in all the machines. Okay, it will list. So this is the machine number 1. It shows the used memory. Right, it shows the total memory, used memory, and the free memory. Right. Similarly, any command can be now added to this add hoc command, can be executed to all machines. So if I use lsblk, normally Linux users will be using it for verifying the list of hard disk. Right. So that is listed here. And finally, to end this session, I'll be telling about playbook, but I'm not writing in this session. So like I said already, it's a YAML file, contains one or multiple play. So I have a playbook already in my current directory, which I have copied before starting this session. So it's a playbook which is going to implement web server. And for my demo also, I have a demo website in the same directory. So if you look into this YAML file, it will be human readable. Okay, it says it's going to implement Apache web server in Mumbai data center or RHEL servers, and the host is RHEL, but actually I don't have a name called RHEL because in my inventory I have added 2 IP addresses. So now I'll just make it as all, which means it's going to implement in all the servers which is in my case. Because I have only 2 machines, I am doing it. And the first task is install the software. Okay, this task is going to install the software called HTTPD in all the machines which I have added in this host. And this task is going to start the service in all the machines. And the third task is going to copy the site which I have in my current directory to the location of the default website. That's the already written playbook. So now if I run the playbook, so from the Ansible control node, that playbook will be implemented on all my managed nodes. Okay, before that, if I try accessing a site, maybe you can also do that now, as of now. Okay, it's not opening anything. Okay, so now from my Ansible control node, I'll try to run this playbook. To run this playbook, there's a command called Ansible playbook and the playbook name. If there is any errors, it will be listed here. If the playbook is perfectly written, it will be implementing Apache web server on the managed nodes which I have. So to install software, there should be some privileges. I'll be also doing that. So the task is executing with the power of EC2 user, but I have not configured privilege, so that's what it's not allowing to install software. So now I'll be doing some privilege related configuration to perform installation action. I'll be just commenting all the fields which I have in the under the privilege escalation section. Which means the user in the target node will be now executing the task with the power of root user. Earlier when I tried running the playbook, I had a failure of installation of software, and now if I again try running the same playbook, this time, so installation of software got successfully installed. Installation of software is success, and service is also started, and the site which I have in my current directory is also deployed to the manage node, which means now if I try accessing the site, so I have to allow security settings in AWS. By default to that servers only HTTP SSH traffic is allowed. Now I am allowing HTTP traffic, only then you can able to access the website. So now if I try accessing the site, right, so you'll be able to access the website. So with this, we will end our webinar. Thank you for watching.